So I want to thank you all for attending today. My name is Mary Horn, and I will be your moderator for this session. And the session, of course, is what more is there to learn after attending PETS? And I'm sure you all think there couldn't possibly be more. So I would like to introduce to you the incoming district governor, Greg Horn, and he can say a little bit about himself if he likes, and we will get going.
Well, thank you everybody for attending today. I'm Governor-elect Greg Horn. I've been in training for 2.5 years. Can you believe that? Wow. It's been an amazing journey, and I'm just totally excited about where we're at now. I've had several people mention that, boy, it's too bad I'm having to take over in such a tough time. And I don't think so at all. I see this as a tremendous opportunity for us and for Rotary. And we just got to grab the bull by the horns, no pun intended, and make the best out of the situation. And I know a lot of clubs have already done that. Well, congratulations. You went to PETS in February. It was just 12 weeks ago. And the world was vastly different. You may have been vaguely aware of the COVID-19 virus. I know I was, but it didn't seem to be much of an issue way back then. I believe that you were offered 2 elective classes out of 8, and then you followed with 4 more core classes at PETS. None of them dealt with preparing you for where we are right now. Rotary at all levels was very quick to react to the pandemic crisis and has moved into electronic world of meeting by Zoom, GoToMeeting, and other platforms. In 46 days, you will take over the leadership of your club, and I'm going to take over the leadership of the district. It's a pretty big task. On July 1st, you will have a new level of access to the Rotary International database. And I've got some tips here for you. And I think I've told you this before, I can't emphasize it enough, but your #1 resource should be your district directory. I keep mine with me right on my table every day when I'm working, right next to my computer. There's a wealth of information in it. Certainly more than you can memorize. And so I'm always referring to my directory. And by the way, we'll be getting the new directory out very quickly. Typically, we would have passed it out this weekend in Victoria. Obviously, that's not happening. But when we pass it out, you will get the spiral bound edition, plus several extras for key people in your club. And it's also going to be downloadable as a PDF. Your #2 resource should be your assistant governor. Our 17 assistant governors throughout the district have all been successful club presidents, and we have chosen them for their leadership abilities. They're not here to tell you what to do, but to give you advice when asked. If they don't know the answer to something, they should be able to find it quickly and get back to you. They have a tremendous resource of people on our district council and above. If you haven't already done so, get a calendar to schedule some future events of yourself. As district governor-elect, I have had a lot of things to track now and well into the future. And I've found I have to turn to a spreadsheet with the days in the left-hand column and with places for notes on the right. There's just too many entries for a calendar. And I'll be glad to send you out a blank template that you can use, and it'll have some notes for you that I put in there to prompt you, and you may do what you want with it. I hope it's useful to you to have. You can edit it and take it from there. You can list future events, or you can just throw it away and delete it. Doesn't matter, but I'm going to give you a calendar, a digital calendar in the format that I find handy in my job. And it's similar to the calendar I used 11 years ago when I was a club president. And I found out doing some advanced planning was a real help, especially for me. I don't seem to be much of an advanced planner. Um, you may want to plan a special club meeting sometime way in the future. Make your notes on it now and record them so you don't forget. Perhaps a special party at Christmas time or a special club meeting near St. Patrick's Day. Everybody's got some Irish in them. Then share your knowledge with your own PE next year so they will be better prepared when they follow you. And I also have a list of suggestions for you that I'll be covering here, and I'll email it to everybody at in a couple days, so you don't have to write anything down. First of all, if your club doesn't already have a PEN, and most of them do, but if you do not now have a nominee to follow you, please do everything you can to get one and to get them listed in Club Runner. And the proper thing in Club Runner right now is to get them listed as PEN for the current year. Do not go in and list them as PE for next year. Technically, they should be the same, but I think there's a little glitch in the program, so they should be listed as PENs now. And all of the key positions in your club in Rotary coming up should be listed. You can go into things like club secretary and club treasurer for next year and put them in as next year's positions. But it's more helpful to go in and put the PENs right now in as ends for the current year. Speaking of Club Runner, please keep your members update on any changes they may have, especially phone numbers and email changes. Those are the way that the district and Rotary can contact people, and it's very, very difficult for us to look up people other ways. So if they don't keep up their Club Runner database, we sometimes have a lot of trouble contacting people. Several years ago, I was asked to prepare a list of suggestions for a friend of mine who was an incoming president. And she was quite nervous and said, "Greg, I just need some suggestions." So one night I sat down and poured a drink and started typing at my typewriter or at my computer. And I think I got to about 10 suggestions and paused. Well, the next night I came back and realized I probably had a few more than 10, so I kept typing. And over the years, I've taken that original document and edited it, and I've edited it and re-edited it. Things have changed. So I'm going to try to share with you today some of those suggestions.
So Greg, before we move on,
yeah.
We do have a question that has come up.
Okay.
And that is, will district dues be reduced given there's no conference expenses?
Great question. Right now, the answer is no, although that could change in the future. There was obviously a savings with no conference expense, and we will honestly take a very good look at that and see how that might be able to impact the future. Dues that were paid this year were for this year's conference, so there may be a savings benefit there that we could carry forward. A decision has been made to change the dues payment to the district. You really, really need to make sure that you start scrubbing your club roster beginning in early June. And I even suggest sending out invoices in June and make the invoices due by the end of June from your club members if you can, or you can make a split arrangement if you need be. Rotary International does take a head count on July 1st, and their dues are not negotiable. They send out an invoice to the club based on what is listed. And honestly, the district is a bit more flexible. This year, we're going to allow clubs to make a much later payment to the district for their dues. And I will talk to the club financial chair and see what impact we could have in making a concession on that. Great idea. Any other questions yet? Okay. Well, one of my tips for you, Presidents-elect, try to spend some time researching Rotary at all levels to expand your knowledge. And a couple of places to start are Rotary.org, Zone2627.org. Don't write this down, I'll send it to you. Rotary5020.org. That's our district website. Our youth exchange website is rye5020.org. And then there's also endpolio.org. Those are just some of those that you could start if you haven't already. Do some research, spend 10 minutes a day or an hour a week. You'll be amazed how much you will get out of that. It's going to be your responsibility to ensure that your members are in compliance with our district youth protection policies. And I would really love to get each and every member of your club to at least take the YPA, that's the Youth Protection Awareness Training. It's pretty easy. It can be made fun. It can be done at a club meeting, but the following 3 club members must be screened and vetted and entered into the system. And that is the club president, which will be you, the youth services chair, and the youth protection officer. Those 3 are absolutely critical that we get them entered. So, suggestions for incoming presidents. First of all, don't take yourself too seriously. Nobody else will. Half your club doesn't really care that you're the president, and the other half is just glad it isn't them. Be yourself, because everybody else is already taken. Relax. Stay composed. Don't let them see you sweat. I know how nervous I was the first couple of meetings I ran at the club level. I have a big club with about 120 members. Boy, that was a tough duty, but I learned to get over it. Relax and have fun. That's RI President Holger Knack and I at PETS last year, and we had a lot of fun. What an awesome guy he is. There'll be more on him later. There will be a few days when you just can't fill the time slot between the business part of the meeting. Don't worry about it. If you just have to, start the speaker early, and then you can end the meeting early. Not a big problem. But most days, you're going to have trouble getting to everything on your agenda. Please don't cheat the speaker by robbing them of their time. Either start the meeting early or just prioritize and let some things slide till next week. Make every meeting different. Don't fall into a boring routine. Have fun. Now, along these lines, I once ran a meeting in total reverse order. I rang the bell, thanked everybody for attending. I did the weekly ticket drawing. I introduced the speaker, and I ran the whole meeting in reverse. And some of the old timers didn't see the humor in it, but most of the younger members did. It was really kind of a fun meeting to try. But be different. Change things up a bit. Be enthusiastic. Remember, your audience will only be about half as excited as you are. Now, I ran the meeting with a blank agenda that I had on a Word document, and I will share that blank agenda also. But every week I begin writing out next week's agenda right after this week's meeting. I wrote down things I didn't get to or things I wanted to change. I planned it all week long in bits and pieces, constantly revising and editing. I never printed it until the day of the meeting because it changed so much. And then once I got to the meeting, there's still people trying to add things in, and so you've got to allow some places for changes or additions when you get there. Spend at least an hour a week on the RI and the District 50 website, District 5020 websites. Constantly educate yourself about what is happening in Rotary. It is changing very, very quickly, especially with this new age that we're in. Mentor your PE and your PEN. You should CC them on important emails so they'll know what you're doing and what will be coming down the road next year. Continuity is critical. Now, have you set your budgets and appointed committee heads beginning in February up to this point before you're installed as president? Remember, you should have appointed your board members, including the PEN and officers, by December 31st. and have them listed in Club Runner. So one of your things you'll need to do is get your people in place if you haven't already done it. Hand select them, get the right people on the right slot in your board, and you'll be a lot better off for your year. Go to pnwpets.org and watch some of the pet speakers again. And all of the speakers from 2019 and 2020 are there with their speeches. I've had a couple president-elects call me and ask where they can download the speeches. Yeah, they're all there on the PETS website. So if there's something you want to show at a club or make a point with, go ahead, download it. That's what they're there for. Refer to the materials you brought home from PETS. There's a wealth of information that we printed and distributed. Don't just file it up on the shelf, but review it and just use it. Lead by example. This is a volunteer organization. You can't be a dictator. Take time to do something special for your club members. Meet them for coffee. Find out what their interests are. Are they on the right committee that interests them? You may have to move a few people around. And one thing I did I found was tremendously popular. I had a club of 120 people. I hand wrote a birthday card for every member of my club, including a note on what I thought it meant to have them as a member of my club. And I mailed it 2 or 3 days before their birthday. The response I got on that was tremendous. They'd never had anything like that before. Thank them for their membership and tell them what you enjoy about them. They will remember you for that. Now, look over the attendance report that you should get each week. If someone hasn't been there for a couple of weeks, give them a call. Ask if they're okay. Let them know that you notice their absence. I have a funny story to share with that. I had a elderly lady in my club. Her name was Jane. She was in her 70s, and I noticed she hadn't been there for 4 or 5 weeks, so I called her. And I said, Jane, I haven't seen you at Rotary. How have you been? And she had mentioned to me that she had surgery and gotten her new implants. I should have been more aware. I wasn't thinking about teeth implants. And I was driving the car at the time. I just about drove off the road. So anyway, maybe you should make that call from your home. Anyway, keeping up with your members that you're missing is critical. And if they know that you're caring about them, they're more likely to get back and get back in the club. I just see a note that popped up, and somebody said 70s isn't elderly, is it? Well, I don't think so. I used to think it was elderly, but heck, I'm 75 now. I don't think it's elderly at all. I think it's quite young. Be accessible. Let everybody know, every one of your members know, that they can call you in the evening at home or on your cell if you want. Respond to emails promptly, not days or weeks later. Being an accessible president, I think, is critical in these times. Learn to speak into the microphone. One of my biggest pet peeves is going to a Rotary meeting and you'll see somebody with a mic up here and they start speaking and slowly their hand drops away and they're talking and boy, pretty soon you can just barely hear what they're saying. And the next thing, their hand is down at their waist. They don't know how to use the mic. So first of all, for you, learn to speak into the microphone. And if it's a handheld, make sure you don't let it drop. And then find out, every mic is different. They all have a sweet spot. Some of them are directional, some are not. Test it before the meeting starts. And make sure that the guest speakers that you have for your club know how to use the mic too. Have you ever been to a meeting and the guest speaker had no idea how to talk into the mic? Unfortunately, it happens all the time. Practice and remember the average age of your members. They need to hear you with clarity. Now, order some nice Rotary business cards with a good photo of you way in advance. And you know, a good photographer can do an amazing job of touching things up. Give them out to the community, people you meet, so they will know Rotary by you and your actions. Do not make it a glossy finish on the back. If you have a flat finish, no matter what you put it on the back, people can write on it to jot down notes. And I think that's very important. How often do you try to make a note on the back of a business card that's glossy? It just doesn't work. If you look at my business card, I thought it was important to show our district. It's the largest international district in the whole world of Rotary, and I'm quite proud of that. Inducting new members. When you induct new members, try not to stumble through your speech. If you can, memorize it. And if you can't, practice reading it so many times that you are comfortable reading it. Make it exciting and meaningful when you're inducting them into the club. The new members may not remember exactly what you said, but they'll remember how you said it. And if you need some induction speech ideas, let me know. There's a lot of ways you can bring a person into the club. Make it your own style, but make it smooth. Don't stumble through it, please. Learn to delegate. You can't run the entire club by yourself. This Rotary Club Locator is free to download. They have it for all the different type of smartphones, iPhones, and Androids, but it's a great resource for you and your members. And then please pass this on to your members so they know if they're traveling, they can find a Rotary Club to do a makeup at very easily. You can go online on your search engine and find the Rotary Club Locator and download it. Then the next one that you should have on your phone is Club Runner. Now, we all use Club Runner as a way to communicate, and Club Runner has a mobile database for your phone. It's real easy to download that. Once you do it, you will have the entire membership of your phone at your fingertips. And that's really a big help to have that. And also, up at the top, you'll find once you get into it, there will be 3 little bars. You can go and back up to the district and find other clubs in the district right on your smartphone. And having the knowledge at your fingertips on your smartphone could be a big aid in you, helping you in your year of presidency. Then the most important advice I got at PETS, and this is 11 years ago when I first went, and I still think this is critical. The most important advice I got on being a club president from past Rotary International President Cliff Docterman. He told me if you plan ahead and do it right, you won't get to the end of your year and wish you had it to do over again. Rarely do Rotary presidents get a do-over, so you might as well do it right the first time. He said that your year as a Rotary president should be the funnest year of your life. Now, I have a special request from my friend Holger Kanak. So Holger had 4 requests that he asked me to pass on. First, grow innovative new clubs. Second, host at least 1 strategic meeting a year for your club. If you have a plan to find out where your club is going, you have a better chance of getting there. Select new members carefully and take care of them. And he's really big on that point. Don't just bring in warm bodies, but make sure they have a passion for Rotary service. And 4, continue your efforts to end polio. Any questions? Now's the time that you can lay them on me. Bring them on.
We have a few questions.
Okay.
From Rod, are president citation goals available now?
Yes, they are. They should be on the Rotary International website. Quite often I find if I go onto the website, unless I really know where I'm going, I find there's an easier way to find things. I just Google it. And so Google Rotary President Citation Goals for 2021. And that may be the most expedient way to find. And as far as I know, President Holger is going to keep with the same theme as we did this year. They listed 25 different things on the website, and you will receive the presidential citation by completing 13 of the 25. So it's your choice which 13 you complete.
Next question. How do you think this year, in light of the virus, will change the way we do things besides Zoom meetings, of course?
Well, I guess my first answer to that comes from combining two of Rotary's annual themes. And our current theme is Rotary Connects the World. That's Mark Maloney's theme. And then Holger Knack came up with his theme for next year, and that is Rotary Opens Opportunities. Well, I'd like to connect those two themes, and it kind of makes sense to me that by connecting those two things, connecting the world and opening opportunities, that is where we're going to have a real opportunity to continue making a positive impact in the future. I know it's a difficult time for many people, especially business people that may be shut down now. Some people don't seem to be very affected, and others are very much affected. I think we have to have plenty of leeway for those people that are having difficult times, and do everything we can to help them get back to whatever the new normal may be. And the world is going to be different in the future.
Okay. I'm not sure if the hand raised is from our last poll, or Amy, did you have a question? I'm going to unmute you for a second.
Hello, Greg. How are you?
Hi. Good to see you, Amy.
Good to see you too. I'm sitting here sewing masks as we're doing this, so I'm multitasking Rotary.
Yeah. Amy is one of our newest, she's president of one of our newest clubs, Crossroads of Kitsap County.
So our club is, 9 months old. And as far as, we don't have that history of people who have been there a long time, and this is just part of their routine of, some ideas of what people are doing to kind of keep the enthusiasm going just on the Zoom calls, because it can easily just lead into conversations versus, conducting a little business along the way. And one of my thoughts, which I'm glad I heard from you, is I would love to possibly, as some of our speakers, have the videos play from our pets training, because
Sure.
I think those were so inspirational.
They were so incredible and inspirational, yeah. And you have access to all of them. All of the 2019 and 2020.
Okay.
They're all up there.
Okay.
And so that's one real good resource. There's actually a lot of good speaker resources on YouTube.
I found some of those, and
okay.
I played those at a few of the meetings. So
one other suggestion I have, I've been attending the Friday morning meeting of Gig Harbor Rotary for the past several weeks. They open up the room at 7 a.m. and the meeting starts at 7:30. They have really figured out how to do a virtual meeting. So you'll need an invitation to get in, but we can handle that. If you need it, let me know and I'll pass it on. But they really have changed things up and have a lot of fun. And they're doing a lot of good for the community and letting people know how they're doing it.
Okay, wonderful. And then a quick follow-up. You had mentioned about updating all of our board members. And I don't have access to actually update board members, or is that only the secretary?
The secretary should have the highest, would have the highest level of access in your club. And your access certainly will change on July 1st at Rotary, but you might be able to get the secretary to give you a higher level of access. And
shouldn't I have that already?
I would think so. Conversely, a high level of access is a lower number. The secretary level of access, and that's the ultimate level, is 30.
Okay.
And a typical club member is 70. You should probably talk to your secretary and get an access level of 40. And that would give you a great level of access with Club Runner.
Perfect. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. And then I'm going to just, along the lines of the different meetings, Dave has a question about any ideas for dynamic online speakers for club meetings. That seems to be more of a challenge now, going to Zoom. Not all speakers are geared up for that. So how do you keep the enthusiasm going until they can meet in person again? And before you answer this, or anybody can answer this, we also are looking at a way that you can go onto the district website and go to a link that shows the club meetings and how to request a link for their meetings. So there's 90-some clubs in the district. A lot of them are doing some really phenomenal things and having great meetings. Others are coming along and learning, but if you want, as the incoming president, to jump on or have some of your board members research it before you go to the different meetings and get ideas for your own meeting, I think it's a really valuable resource. So we are working on that.
Yeah, bounce around to some other club meetings on Zoom and borrow ideas from them. There's a lot of really innovative things happening out there. And speaking of innovative things, I am so proud that I picked the public image chair for next year, Caleb Sommerfeld. What a talented young man this is. And well, he's not young, but what a
Yes, he's
talented
young.
man he is. He's a rock star in the electronics world, and he is going to redo the district website as soon as he can when he takes over on July 1st. And he's going to make a new format of websites available for all of the clubs free of charge. And I'm talking a little bit above my head right now because I don't quite understand everything I'm saying, but there's something called WordPress. And WordPress is used in a great many websites around the world. It's probably the most widely used, I don't know what even the word for it is, but WordPress is very widely used. And he's going to switch us over to WordPress. And it just offers a lot more dynamic things that you can do with your website. And I don't think it's ever been so critical that you have a very interesting and informative website. Just think about your own experience. When you go to check out something, what do? You go on the web and you check it out. Whether you're shopping or you're looking for a new business or service, so easy on the web. And guess what? That's what the younger members all do. So you've got to have an attractive website and make it user-friendly. And I think we're going to see a big change with the new WordPress type websites.
Another question along with Dave's question for dynamic online speakers, would it be beneficial to have that also on the district site where somebody could recommend a speaker that they thought was good?
Sure. I think we should do that. Let's make a note of that. I know in Pierce County, where I live, we have 17 Rotary clubs, and we have a little speakers bureau that we pass around among ourselves. And if we have a good speaker, we post their name and share it with permission. And so other clubs can ask that speaker to come. But I think this is also really relevant in today's world. I'll tell you a speaker I just heard. I was on a club meeting yesterday, and a guy named Bill Loki, L-O-K-I, was on. And he was a speaker at my own Rotary Club. I'd heard him 2 or 3 times over the past years in person, but this time he came on as a virtual speaker and just gave an absolutely outstanding speech on a recent experience that he had. And he actually has summited Mount Rainier 40 times. He goes around the world speaking on the environment and about experiences. And he had been hired by a cruise ship line to go on an around the world cruise and be the cruise ship speaker on a variety of topics. Well, guess what? He was on the cruise ship in February when the pandemic hit. And luckily, they had not taken on any new passengers for about the next 3 weeks. They made sure that they were totally safe, changed their route. What a fantastic speaker he was. His name is Bill Loki, L-O-K-I. If you can get him as a speaker, I would highly recommend it. But there's a lot of other ones out there with just great stories that will captivate you.
Okay, so your next question comes from some guy we kind of know, Mark Edgecombe.
Oh, no, not Mark Edgecombe.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he's going to be president of my club. Wow. Hi, Mark.
Yeah, they'll take anyone in Rotary, let me tell you. Hey,
What you got?
more a comment, not a question. In following your presentation, Greg, I saw you talked about a calendar, which I think is a great idea for everyone to have. But I just wanted to point out, since I have both these people in the same club that I attend, I know that your calendar has a name, and that name is Mary. And Mary is the calendar behind this man. So if you can get a calendar and name it Mary, it's going to work perfectly for you.
Yeah.
Thanks,
You know,
Mike.
I have one challenge, and I carry my iPhone, and I always refer to my Excel calendar in the computer. And once in a while, I make a mistake, and I only log it in one place, not both. And so I'm trying very hard to put it both in my Excel calendar and on my iPhone, and to make sure that those two are always really current for the next couple of weeks.
Okay, so I'm switching back and forth from questions on chat to people who have raised their hands.
Okay.
So if it's a little out of order, I apologize. One of the questions from Keith is, what are ideas for the president's dinner? Has anyone found some really cool ideas to do it on Zoom? So, Michael, I see your hand up. I'm going to unmute you. Okay.
Hi, Michael.
Hi. One of the things we decided to do, we're doing it on Zoom, but to make it look a little more realistic in terms of pinning people, what we're going to do is pre-position the pins, and then we're going to do something like this, and we're going to hand the pin across to the other person. The other person is going to come in and pick up the pin, and then we'll have somebody pin it on them. So it looks a little bit more like we're doing something.
Great idea. I like it. Thank you.
So if you guys are going to the party later, you're going to see a similar thing where District Governor Moe is going to pass the gavel to Greg. It's a little bit different than what you talked about, Michael, but you'll get the idea. Thank you. Next, we're going to go to Eileen. Thanks for your patience.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Eileen.
I know this is hi, Greg and Mary and everyone else. This is probably a really simple and a question that everybody else knows about, but I haven't been in Rotary that long, and I'm coming in as president, and I want to know what the board is for. So see, that's a really simple question, but what is the board for?
Okay, the board actually has they're the overseer of the operations of your club.
Right.
The board of directors is in charge of running the club, administrating it and everything. Yeah, you're the president, but the board really has the power.
That's true, but what I really, I guess, need to know is how you work with the board in such a way that the members are included and don't think that it's this hierarchical kind of group of people who have information that they don't.
Well, for one thing, the board members should be on a rotating basis. My own club has 6 or 8 members, and half of them change every other year. So we're always putting on new members, and the old ones are aging out. And there's always a rotation, and the board members come from the vote of the membership.
But you have a very large club. We have a very small club, so it's like most of the people who are on the board have been on the board for a number of years. So anyway, I know this is I don't want to take more time, but
you might consider getting some new blood on the board with some new ideas. I know when I took over as president of my club 11 years ago, we had 43 committees, and that's a lot, but we operated quite efficiently. But I went in and I said to everybody that was a chair of a committee, if you've been there 3 years or more, thank you for your service, but let's put somebody else in. We want some new ideas and new faces. This committee thing is not a lifetime appointment. And so I gently removed a few people from committees, or I shifted them to a different committee. If they wanted to serve, great. move them around, let them serve in a new position. I think one thing is critical is to have a committee chair in your club. If it's a major committee, have a vice chair that's learning along the way so they can step in case something happens or the people get tired and quit or die or anything, but have educated people coming along the way that can pick up the pieces and doesn't have to start from scratch.
Thank you.
Eileen, I might say also one of Holger's requests is that every club have a strategic planning meeting at least once a year. You may find that that will help you solidify the direction you want to go. We're thrilled. District Governor Moe has agreed to be the visioning chair for next
Yep.
year.
Wow.
Immediate past District Governor Craig Gillis is the RLI. Okay, Greg.
Rotary
what's that?
Leadership Institute.
Okay, so you've got some great resources. And if I were you, I would talk with them and see if they can either help you with it, be involved or something. And you might find some new ideas come out of that for your club.
Thank
Remember,
you.
the district is here to serve you and your clubs. So if you want some help from the district, it's free. Just let us know. We will help you with your strategic planning and your visiting, anything else you need. We're here for you.
Scott, you have been very patient. I just unmuted you.
Yeah, Greg, thank you very much. I wish you the best of luck next year. I'm new to Rotary, and I'm also just been president-elect. So today's sessions have been absolutely incredible. I signed up for 5 different sessions,
Good.
and I begin to describe the things I've learned and what I need to do. What I would like to recommend is if we do this once a quarter at the district level. It has been so incredible, you know, and it may just be because of the pandemic. We're all kind of stuck at home, and this is a good opportunity but if we could do this every quarter, I, for one, would be signing up for all 5 sessions. I mean, I learned so much today. It has been absolutely incredible.
Well, that's a wonderful idea, and I don't know why we couldn't accomplish that. We put this together just on a hope and a prayer that we could pull this together. Now we've got experience under our belt, and we may be able to carry this forward maybe twice a year, maybe quarterly. I don't know, but I'll certainly bring this up. Yeah.
I think monthly is too often. I think twice a year. Personally, I think once a quarter, you know, and if
Okay.
people have time, they'll sign up. If they don't, then they won't. But there's so much material and things to talk about within Rotary that, you know, once a quarter, like there was classes that I had to choose between, and I would have taken both, but they're going on at the same time. So
I was aware of that because I was involved in the registration process. However, here's the good news. The 30 classes that we offered today, all are recorded. They will be on the district website. They should be fairly easy to find. And you may sit back and watch the other classes later. The great majority of people that attended today attended between 4 and 5 classes.
Yeah.
Not counting the party tonight. We have a lot of people doing all 6, but yeah, there's a few people that had special interests. I saw they signed up for 1 or 2 classes, and that was it, and that's fine. But most people signed up. They wanted knowledge. They wanted more information about Rotary, and we want to provide it. So between the district and Rotary International, I think we can get you that information. And then the other thing I really want to put a plug in for is the Rotary Learning Center. It's on the Rotary website. And I've started about 20 classes myself. I've completed about 15 of them. There's a lot more classes out there, but the cool thing is, once you get on and log on to any of the classes, you can just shut your computer, walk away, come back next week, get back to that class, and that class knows who you are and where you left off. So you can seamlessly complete the class at your own pace. And I think it's a tremendous help to be able to do that. And I think some of our classes might even migrate over to the Rotary website. I know that there are some people from Rotary International looking very hard at us today, figuring out how we did this. There is no district that I know of that was able to accomplish so much so quickly. And Rotary International is going to have a 5 or 6 day virtual conference in May, in June, instead of the Honolulu conference. I think they are trying to figure out how are they going to do it, and we might be a learning step for them.
Okay, we have a couple more. Well, we have quite a few questions, and
Let's go. I've got time.
Clay, you had a question?
I really don't have a question. I just had comments for Eileen and Amy. Amy, we are younger than you are, Graham, Frederickson, Eatonville. And we really don't spend a lot of time with speakers because our club is still trying to learn about our members. So one of the things I did, I've been in Rotary a while. I was with Parkland Spanaway. That's where I met you and Greg and Mary. And so what we've done in this one, I structured our club so the first meeting of the month is our business meeting, which takes the place of a board meeting. Because like most Rotarians, we feel that the board sometimes it's just like it was hidden behind the curtain. So we didn't know as a member what was going on. And I didn't like that feeling, so I wanted to make sure all our members knew what was going on. So the first meeting of the month is a business meeting, similar to a board meeting. The second one is a fellowship meeting where we have somebody get up and do their classification talk. So we get to learn about each other because we're still so new. The third Thursday of the month, we then have a speaker come in and talk to us. And then the fourth meeting of the month, we have another classification talk. And if we have 5 Thursdays, we have another classification talk or fellowship meeting. Now, we are so young that what we've done in the last 2 months is over to Zoom, we coordinated a food drive that we had last Tuesday for our Bethel Family Center out here. And it was a short food drive, but it was a time for us to gather and see each other in person again and reconnect, yet do something good for the community. In 4 hours, we filled up a pickup truck and one of the Bethel buses. So we did really good. We all got to see each other and reconnect. And I think that's one of the things as a new club that we're still trying to learn about each other. And that's the best thing we could do.
Another question that was in the chat from Walt, since we're all having to distance and stay at home, some of the projects that you guys have all been working on have been stopped in mid-stride. Is there any advice moving forward? What are you doing with some of those projects? Are you having to change to different projects? And this might be something we can share in the future. I don't know if we have time to go into it in depth. Comments, Greg?
I'm sorry, I was reading another question. I missed that. I missed.
You know, I get this all the time, so you know, no big deal. With a stay at home, some projects are hung in mid-stride. Do you have any advice?
Boy,
that's a tough one. And
it is really a tough one.
I will just answer. Our club, we were going to have our 50th anniversary for our fundraiser. That didn't happen. But what we did do is we switched and we did we took meals up to the local hospital to the night staff because they're always the ones that get left out. So we provided meals for the entire staff, and it probably cost us about $1,000, but it was so appreciated. We found out they needed hand lotion because you can imagine the medical team, how many times they have to wash their hands in a given day. So we found someone to donate hand lotion. So we really, to answer your question, we've had to change direction and do different things to serve the community. So Next, we're going to take Brian, and I'd love to pronounce your last name, but
Lepic,
thank you.
like
Brian
Lepic of the like Lepic of the litter.
I love it.
Okay. Thank you for these gems, Greg. Very much appreciated. Mine builds on a lot of questions about holding Zoom meetings. So if you have a Zoom meeting and you want to keep it interesting, because what I've noticed is a totally different platform than a regular meeting. And I've noticed in our club, it seems a bit more stilted when you just translate the meeting, and we're all learning, right?
Yeah.
So how much can you deviate from the regular type of meeting that we would hold without people feeling unaccustomed, but while making it interesting?
Well, I think you can deviate pretty much as you feel you need to. First of all, there are no Rotary police, but you can be inventive in so many new ways. And as I said earlier, perhaps the best thing to do is bounce around a few other Zoom meetings and see what other clubs are doing, because you're going to get a whole bunch of ideas every time I'm in a different Zoom meeting. And I'm currently trying to hit 10 different clubs every week. It's not easy, but it's not that hard. I'm just learning so much and seeing so many different things. It's just fascinating.
And what kept you entertained? The ones that you enjoyed the most? What was it that kept you entertained the most?
Oh, I think it was definitely their take on humor. Their take on humor. In Gig Harbor so far has got one of the funniest guys ever, and he comes up with a bunch of off-the-wall stuff every week that just keeps you wanting to come back and see what he's going to do next week. It's stuff he's downloaded off the internet. He makes fun of himself. He sometimes makes a little light fun of other club members. It's all done in good taste. But the guy is just a genius at coming up with weird, fun ideas. And I can't wait to see next week's.
And that's Gig Harbor, G-I-G.
Gig Harbor. And now there's 3 Gig Harbor clubs. This is the one that meets at 7 o'clock in the morning on Fridays.
Thank you.
In fact, they're the big Gig Harbor club. They have a waiting list to get in. They've capped their membership at about 125.
Okay,
one of the
so
few clubs that has an upper cap.
we are going to hear from Debbie. Thank you.
Hi, Eileen, I come from a very small club, Cumberland Centennial, and we have a board. And what we do is we have a board meeting, and then the following day at our meeting, we have what we call a club assembly. And we just tell the whole group exactly what we've done, what was discussed, and sometimes there are things that the whole club has to vote on. For different projects and things, because we don't do it arbitrarily. We like to make the club feel that they're all part of the process. It works very well.
Great.
Wonderful.
I think being very transparent is the answer.
I agree. And I also agree with you, Greg. I think that Cumberland Centennial is going to have the most rewarding year that we've ever had. And that's because of the way things have to change, the way we interact with the community. And
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it.
I think it's a real opportunity that we have in front of us, and I think we can capitalize on it. I really, really do.
I do too.
Claire.
Yes, thank you. I want to say one thing. I signed up for all of the courses, and I missed all of them but this one so far. I can't explain that, but I was agonized over it, and I am so grateful that you have recorded these, and I will go back and listen to all of them. Thank you so much. I feel so
I
much
know
better.
that there were courses that I went through. Well, this is my 5th course today, the 2nd one I've been involved in teaching, but there were courses I couldn't take because I could only take 5 of them. But no problem. I'm going to be back listening to the recorded ones, and I think that's just the beauty of how we're operating now.
And the second thing on the question of how to bring in members in the meeting, what I do, it seems to have worked well. I have a very cantankerous club, very aggressive. And the first thing I do when something's coming up is I consult with the movers and players in the club. And you can identify those people, the people that will have objections or that care or that are involved in things, any of those things. And I talk with them up front. Then I bring it to the board and we talk at the board meeting. And then I bring it to the club. And in between times, I inform the club at club meetings through committee reports or through my personal report about what's in progress. So nobody is ever blindsided by anything. There's no surprises. And that has worked very well. So that was kind of an answer to that question as to how to conduct that stuff. So there was a third thing, but I forgot what it was. So moving on. Thank you.
Good advice, Michael. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to just answer a couple of the chat ones. How do you find other club meetings on Zoom? Again, you can send a direct request to the current president or the president-elect, find out how to get an invitation. Hopefully at some point we'll have that information on the district site. And it's so easy to get to other meetings as far as getting speakers from other areas. I think that's an excellent idea. Patty, you mentioned that they have an amazing Zoom series that's available on their website, and even Holger was there speaking on Friday. You have to think outside the box. We don't have to be limited by geography. Rod, you wanted to know when we're transferring to WordPress. We are actually meeting with Caleb Sommerfeld next week to discuss this. He really, really likes WordPress. He's using it for the magazine on the district site. We are going to be transferring little by little. It's been an interesting process, but it sounds like that's the direction to go. How that affects you guys, I would have to ask Caleb.
I think one of the most important things you president-elects can do right now is keep talking up this tremendous news magazine that comes out every month. It's called UD 5020. That stands for Unite District 5020. This is Caleb's brainchild. He is absolutely phenomenal in his creative abilities. I think he's got 6 issues on the district website. You can go back and look at them. But the beauty of the thing is because it's electronic, we're not limited by size. So if your club has a project that you want to showcase, write up an article, send in the pictures to Caleb, and it'll be in next month's magazine. He's always looking for information on your club's successes so he can post them. But this UD 5020 magazine has got the attention of Rotary International. They have never seen anything like it. No other district has put out an electronic news magazine every single month like his. And the May issue, because there was so much going on right now with this training and the conference, the May issue will be out in a few days. And it's mainly going to be tilted towards honoring District Governor Moe for the fantastic year she's had and what she missed by not having her conference in Victoria in Rio. So that the May issue is going to be pretty much dedicated to Moe. But it's a wonderful thing that he puts out. Please encourage all of your members to read it every month. I know he does a broadcast, but out of 4,600 members, we usually get about 1,000 to 1,200 unique hits on it. So I know there's a lot of our members not seeing this wonderful piece he creates, and it's a lost opportunity if people aren't reading it.
Okay, so I want to just mention a couple things. When is the district directory going to come out? We are updating it constantly. We're meeting with Katie Cord next week to finalize everything. The challenge we've had is we were going to put the travel schedule coming up for Greg for this year. Yeah, that's a real challenge. So we've decided we're going to not enter that for now.
That will be posted online.
And if you guys have a special event where you want Greg to participate via Zoom for now, please let him know. He's already committed to a number of installations, but if he's got the time, he will definitely do it. RI has recommended that the district governor not do any travel probably throughout the end of the calendar year 2020 unless things change dramatically. Having said that, Greg has every intention of visiting every club as soon as he possibly can. So just keep that in mind, and we'll just have to schedule as we go because things are too uncertain.
Well, one thing from my perspective is I believe that past district governors, when they did their club visits, walked in as a stranger to about 3/4 of the clubs. And I don't think I'll be a stranger at any club because I will have had several Zoom meetings with your clubs before I get there in person. And so hopefully I'll know you and you'll know me, and it's going to have a different dynamic. That's my prediction. And I'm excited for this.
Okay, so we are out of time. I know, Walt, you had a question. Just wanted to put it out that Greg is going to be sending monthly updates out to the president so that you can have an idea of what's going on. Take a look at the calendar he's sending out. That's really important.
Thanks a lot. This is a follow-up on the question about projects that can't be completed. I'm talking a project which is covered by a district community grant, but the funds are about halfway expended, but our schools have shut down, so we can't complete it within the grant cycle period, but the funds are already out there, so it's a policy question.
I would refer that to Bob Zawilski, Zawilski. He's in charge of all of that, and allowances are being made because you're not the only one in that situation. So whoever's doing the grant has obviously been in touch with Bob Zawilski along the way. So I would defer to him on that question.
All right. Thank you, everyone.